Well, it seems that the plan itself is part of the criticism, both from industry experts and from travelers. Of course, Toronto Pearson Airport is the biggest and busiest airport in the country, but they're dealing with delays, flight cancellations, long lineups, security concerns that they haven't had to deal with since the airline industry evolved in this country. But many experts said the federal government knew that this was coming, so why didn't they plan? Of course, this puts the federal government in a defensive position. The Minister of Transport, Omar El-Gabra, said earlier that they were going to hire 400 new screening agents to help alleviate some of the stress at the airports, but that they wouldn't be in play until the end of the month, so that doesn't really help. And then yesterday, he told us on Twitter that he's in fact going to hire 850 new agents. So where did that new number come from? Where did the resources come from? And that's what so many experts are criticizing, saying it doesn't look like the plan is very well thought out. Have a listen.
What worries me the most about what the minister announced is we don't know what it's based upon. Is 400 the right number and now it's 800? Is that the right number? Well, why is 1,000 not the right number, or 1,200? It seems like these numbers are being pulled out of thin air. He's also not been very forthcoming about the timeline for the arrival of these agents. He's planning on starting rookie agents at the worst possible time of year. So is 800 better than 400? Yes, but what's the basis for some of these decisions?
So whether it's well planned out or not, according to that expert, the problem is right now, if you're traveling into Toronto Pearson Airport or traveling out of it, there is no relief in sight.
And Natasha, what kind of long-term impact might these delays have?
Well, the big issue is reputation, Hannah. Of course, there's no good side to this. If people are getting delayed at the airport, flights are getting canceled, you're in a lineup for hours, you're stuck on a plane for hours, there's very little good side to that, and that's exactly what industry leaders, both in the travel agencies but in business, are also saying about this. In fact, a group of business leaders in Toronto held a news conference last month warning the federal government, saying, you know this is coming, make sure positions are in play, that you've got the staffing ready, that you're going to remove some of the health screening that's unnecessarily, for them, clogging up the system, because what's going to happen is people are going to complain, and they're going to complain to their friends. International travelers, if their first Canadian experience is hours of waiting in lineups and complete chaos, they're unlikely to tell their friends to come. And this city and the country desperately needs a boost in the travel industry, of course, because of COVID-19. But it's beyond that now. There's a viral video by Kevin Whitney, who is a former hockey player, professional hockey player, and he said that Ryan Whitney, and he said this is the worst airport on earth. Imagine. And that video has been viewed multiple millions of times, and it's getting shared a lot. And anyone who's frustrated at Pearson Airport is sharing that video. So that does no good. And beyond that, there's long-term damage, because organizations that are planning summits and galas and events years from now are looking at what's happening in Toronto right now and saying, yeah, we're not going to come here. At least that's what a lot of industry experts are telling us. Have a listen.
The reputational impact this will have over the long run can be very significant. And all a meeting planner has to do is take one look at these experiences and hear these stories, and then think twice about whether or not they want to bring 5,000 people to the city. And that's one person making a decision that impacts 5,000 people or 8,000 or 3,000 people visiting the city. And so the impact may be down the road. It may be decisions that are being made now not to book a meeting for Toronto that could happen in 2025. But when those years start to come and you look around and there may be fewer meetings, you think back to what was happening at the time those meetings were booked, and this issue is right at the top of that list.
So Hannah, that puts it into perspective. It's not just about individual inconvenience at the airports or a bit of headache. This might have major long-term impact on the economy of the city.